iPhone 17 Pro Max challenger today is the Galaxy Z Fold 7 speed test. So what is up guys, Nick here helping you to master your technology. Let's go ahead and begin this video with a boot up test in 3, 2, go. And these have been two of my favorite devices over the past half a year, 6 months. The iPhone 17 Pro Max, super fast, very nice to hold with its curved corners, but the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7, a pretty thin device for a foldable, much larger inner display and a much better outer display here for this phone. The Z Fold 7 is rocking the Snapdragon 8 Elite combined with 12 gigs of RAM versus the A19 Pro over there with the 12 gigs of RAM, but the Z Fold turned on much faster than that of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. All right guys, so when it comes to unlocking a device, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is a quick swipe away, convenient with Face ID housed in Dynamic Island. However, I gotta say that swipe, not only with the animation being more visually pleasing than a lot of other phones, but it generally just feels like it takes a little longer to get into this phone, just compared to something like the Z Fold 7, which embeds the fingerprint sensor right there on the side within that super thin frame right there. You can see that super thin button. You could see this is so thin right here, they were barely able to fit that in there. That reminds me of the camera control found on the iPhone Air. But when we go ahead and launch that, you'll see that you don't even have to be anywhere near it. You got to click it for a second there. But once you're in there, you know, you're good to go. Some people have said that this phone's a little bit harder to feel out that button though than the previous folds. I would agree a bit, but this also can just kind of look at the phone and go right in. You can also still unlock it those same ways here on the, what the heck was that? You can still unlock it the same way here on the inside display and with the fingerprint sensor, but you can also just kind of look at it too from that camera and it'll go right in. So the Z Fold 7, numerous ways to do pretty much everything with this productivity beast here of a foldable, but also faster to unlock just because there's multiple ways to do it and you have an embedded fingerprint sensor. Let me know which method you prefer though. iOS 26.1 clocked in at 4.25 gigahertz, Android 16 One UI 8 clocked in at 4.47 gigahertz on that second cluster. Let's get on to the app test. All right, so here we are at the app test. Everything closed out over there, everything closed out over here. Now, the display looked a little bit dim in my prior shots right here. I forgot to turn off extra dim. It's off now, so it definitely looks a little bit nicer. Let's go ahead and head into calendar. And you could see with the animation going to Samsung, let's go ahead and swipe up out of there. And the animations look kind of the same coming out. Let's go into clock. You see how it just flies open faster there on the Samsung device. Now, that kind of plays into the rest of the experience as well. As you tap through things, it just seems like a snappier productivity-based experience over here. Apple looks like, obviously you get productivity on both of them, but Apple seems to be more about the visual effects, the feel of the software. Definitely you could do that right there. So it's just a little bit different. Let's go into calculator, and that was faster on the right. We'll swipe over here into the Play Store, which actually launched that first. If we go into games, you could see a little bit quicker on the left. However, taking better advantage of the display is the Z Fold 7. Let's go into ChatGPT, and really if Apple launches a foldable without the ability to split screen, that would be ridiculous. But you can see they both launched this pretty quickly. And let's go ahead and swipe up out of here, and we're gonna go into Gemini here on both phones, and you'll see that it wasn't too much different. We'll swipe up out of there. We're gonna go into Grok. That was faster on the Samsung. And when it comes to actually generating text, both of them do this pretty well. I mean, it depends on the Wi-Fi. You know, these are in their servers, in these apps servers. So it's not really down to the specific phone here. They can both run these AI chatbots, no problem. So Copilot, didn't have the location set. Let's go ahead and go into Copilot one more time. And it's probably going to do that again because I did only this time. Nope. So that was faster on the Samsung. Let's do it one more time for good measure. Yeah, faster on the Samsung. Let's go over here to X, and that was faster on the Samsung. A little bit faster on the right. Usually it just comes down to the animation speed mostly. The Samsung just has a quicker animation speed. We'll go over to categories. But I feel like the both phones are just super fast these days. But the Z Fold to me is just so much more useful, like for productivity standpoint. can get so much more done on the Z Fold 7. It's not even funny, man. Like, I would be using the iPhone and I have to actually go grab my Z Fold just to get some split screen done. So definitely, if you want a phone that does it all, there's no comparison here. There really isn't. The Z Fold is far ahead of the iPhone 17 Pro Max. But if you want a device that has the best cameras, really strong battery life, they're both actually good in that department. But the iPhone's camera system, I think, blows away the Z Fold 7. Let's go into RTS in most departments. But definitely doesn't, the S25 Ultra is more a competitor there. That looked like it went to the iPhone. We'll hit play. Now the gaming, to me, is actually a little bit better on the Z Fold 7 because of the size, but some games aren't optimized properly on that phone, but they still expand the screen, so they don't tend to look exactly perfect. So let me see if I put on that auto rotate, it'll stop doing that. Let's go over here to Free Fire, and we'll see what happens here. But I clearly like to use the Z Fold 7 more just because, for gaming, just because of the canvas. I mean, it's just much bigger. Like look how much bigger the character is right there for Free Fire. That was substantial. And let's swipe up by here. And we'll go into Call of Duty. However, I do feel a little bit more heat on the Z Fold 7 than the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So if you're caring about heat and thermal performance, I still have to recommend the 17 Pro Max out of these two. Also, sometimes the games tend to come first to iPhone still. Certain games, not all games. But that's just something. But so let's head into Call of Duty here on both phones, and you'll see that, so you can see how the logo was kind of coming out of the screen there. Looks like the Galaxy Z Fold 7 is in the lead here so far. We'll see which one can get there first though. And no, I think the iPhone is actually pulling ahead. So we'll see what happens. Z Fold 7 is still loading there. Yeah, the iPhone won this battle right here, but not by a substantial margin. These are controller-based games right here, so you can use controllers. And then if you place the Z Fold 7, I mean, look how large the character is right there. But the graphics to me look slightly nicer here on just the way this game looks. It looks just crisper on this display over here on the left, but it's much larger. And if you place this game up on this phone up on a stand, use a controller, that's like a little mini gaming station right there for the Z Fold 7. Now the iPhone though, again, has the better, I don't know why it does this every time. I actually launch these games before I make the video, and then it does this in the test. Like, it starts asking me all these prompts again. I don't know if it's from updates or whatever, but it happens. Like, I'll literally launch these games right before making the video, and then that stuff happens in the middle of the game, or in the middle of the video. But you'll see the iPhone won that because it's downloading. Let me just rerun PUBG. I'll be right back. All right, guys. So let's go into PUBG Mobile here and see which one can get there first. And you're going to see that looks like the iPhone is in the lead here for this one. And here comes the Samsung. The Samsung could catch up though. So let's not write it off yet, just yet. And so the Samsung loading up the game here. And it looks like the Samsung actually took this victory. So Samsung's in. Here comes the iPhone. It always checks for updates in this game. And here comes the iPhone. So the iPhone did not take that W there. We'll go into the Destiny Rising now, and we'll see which one can take this win here. And it does look like the iPhone is in the lead, but the Samsung now seeming to get to the end of the load bar faster. Here comes iPhone, and we'll hit tap anywhere to start. And we're still waiting here for this device. So it still says launching game, and this one was better for iPhone. So Destiny Rising, definitely going to be better on iPhone. And this happens throughout, it can happen throughout these apps. Some apps just launch better on iOS. Some just launch faster and better on the Z Fold. But I will say I would rather play that game on Z Fold as well. Let's hit 3D Mark. You can see faster on the left, and it just slid up over there. Let's bring it back in. How about Speed Test Net? Faster on the right. We'll go into InShot, faster on the right. Geekbench, faster on the right. and I didn't have LumaFusion here. I wasn't actually going to open that in this test anyway. But you've seen that the Z Fold 7, quicker animation, some games slower, iPhone basically the same. The difference here though is a lot different than before. Back in the day, the iPhone was always winning most of the time, but now the Samsung has not only faster animations, most of the applications tend to launch faster. So I think the Z Fold won a little bit more of those in that app test. Let's go ahead and check out the RAM management now. All right, guys, so let's go back through the applications. One of the best things about iPhone has always been how good its RAM management, and it's gotten even better with the 12 gigs of RAM. However, some other phones now have better RAM management experience. I would say that's the OnePlus 15, but this device is still a very, very strong competitor in this department. It does a really good job, and it should, because I still have to go through all the apps. I can't split them, so I want them to be open on the iPhone specifically, which they do a fantastic job at. I just don't like how I still can't split screen on this phone, because it's got all that RAM, it's got this size. Why not? Let's check out the Z Fold 7 now. All right, so let's go back through the applications. You can see right here, Z Fold 7, very fast, very efficient. To remove that gesture, I did have to download the Good Lock module for that. So that's why, but getting a little bit slower there on the games. You see a little bit of a blink right there. Samsung needs to fix that blink. This is nowhere near as snappy as the OnePlus. Holding things very well though. Gemini with a little blink action. You could see, I would say pretty close to on par with the iPhone, but doesn't seem like it's quite as smooth though. So probably the iPhone I would take in this department. But here's the thing. That's just an animation. You can't do this on the iPhone though. So let's go ahead and put the Play Store there, and we're not done yet. We can still bring in something else. So let's go ahead and bring in the calculator, bring that down there. Now, I wish they could do 4 applications, but it's 3 right now. You can still bring an application in like this. So you'll just bring a pop view, and then you'll just take your finger, drag it like that, and then you could have 4 applications at once. So this is just unparalleled multitasking, taking much better advantage of that RAM that is in this phone. So while this was a little bit snappier with the look of it, this was still doing really good and can handle all of those applications at once. Now, to be fair, I do feel that we would be able to handle split screen multitasking on an iPhone Ultra, foldable device, whatever they're going to call it, or even on the 17 Pro Max. I feel like iPhones have had enough power for the past few years to handle split screen multitasking with no issue, but we just don't have the feature yet. Anyway, I'll be back when this Geekbench is done, and we're going to see what kind of scores they can produce. So we're back, and the iPhone has been done for about a minute already, while still waiting for the Z Fold 7, which tells me the scores are already going to win. And it does. Multi-core score up over 1,000 points over the Z Fold 7, and the single core is pretty drastic right there. So this is a pretty marketable improvement on the left. In the real world, the iPhone 17 Pro Max does feel a little bit faster. But generally, you don't get to take advantage. I'll keep harping about that point about what the Z Fold 7 is capable of. You don't get to use that kind of power too much on the iPhone like you can on the Z Fold 7. But that's also debatable if you're using the iPhone 17 Pro Max for video rendering. It's going to be very, very fast. And let's go ahead and come back when 3D Mark is done. Looks like this got corrupted, but I'll fix that. We'll be back when the scores are in. And so the final results are in here for Wildlife Extreme, and the iPhone has taken down the Z Fold 7 with an average frame rate of 34.4 FPS versus 25.83 on the right. Now, if I recall correctly, the S25 Ultra was actually benchmarking higher than the Z Fold 7. You can see that's a pretty big jump. This scoring better than 84% of devices, this scoring better than 94% of devices in this test. So Z Fold 7 behind the graphics and in the Geekbench gives the victory automatically to the iPhone 17 Pro Max when it comes to CPU and graphical performance. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Wi-Fi speed test now. All right, guys, so here at the Wi-Fi speed test, both of them are connected to my Wi-Fi 7 network. You can see right here on the left, the iPhone 17 Pro Max has been giving me some really excellent just overall performance when it comes to 5G, Wi-Fi, connectivity, and Bluetooth. I've been very happy with the speed here. it's been at the same level as what I'm used to on my Samsung phones, which is a great thing because back in the day, they didn't used to be that good. Over here, you're going to see that the Samsung, though, pulling in, even on the same network, 1200. Wow, that is a big discrepancy there on the download. So maybe the Samsung could pull in a little bit better. But you can see right here on the upload, about the same, but that download was ridiculous there on the Z Fold 7 comparatively to what we scored on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. So I'll give that one to the Z Fold 7. Let's go ahead now and do a quick camera launch test to see which one is quicker to do this. All right, so let's take a picture of this space black iPhone Air with this sample. Now I did bring the Z Fold to its outer display so I can click these at the same time. Let's go ahead and launch cameras in 3, 2, go. And the iPhone can do that faster. Let's hit the shutters right there. And I feel like the iPhone still has faster shutter speed as well over the Z Fold 7. Let's click the camera. Once again, iPhone. So iPhone is the faster to launch on the camera. So let's wrap this up with a final verdict. The iPhone doesn't turn on faster. It doesn't have faster animations, but it does have some games that are better optimized and quicker. The phone is faster in the CPU and in the graphics test as well. But the Z Fold 7 takes better advantage of its performance with the ability to split screen multitask, pop view, and actually get a lot done with the power that is available for this phone. However, from a gaming standpoint, this is more powerful on the left. This is pretty darn close, and it does have faster Wi-Fi performance, but this has a faster and better camera system. So there are sacrifices and trade-offs, but I think overall, I would say that the iPhone is technically more powerful, but the Z Fold 7 seems to feel more faster with its animations, and it feels more powerful when you're using it because of what it can do, if that makes sense. So thumbs up if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will catch you on the next speed test. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.